I think I can say on behalf of me and Pete, we are more than honored to have you here. It's a pleasure to sit down and talk to you. Let you know what we're going to do. We're going to get stories out about American heroes that both served in military and as a first responder. Any branch, any field of a first responder. And we want to keep these stories alive so people remember them. They're always going to remember. We're always going to have them. They're always going to be there. So with you, we know that you're a Vietnam veteran in the Marine Corps. We know you're a Chicago police officer, or sergeant in the Chicago Police Officer, retired. Bring us back to how old were you when you went into the Marine Corps?
17.
17 years old.
Now, I should also tell you, people that know me have a misconception about how I became a Marine and how I became a police officer. Most people want to be a policeman when they grow up. They always also or be a Marine. Trust me, I wanted to be neither.
Really?
My dad died when I was 12 years old. I had 6 brothers and 2 sisters. My mother had to raise us, so we ran wild. You know, she worked nights all her life. They left it to us. She spent more time down in juvenile court with us than she did there. And so finally I got a little older, started going to a bigger court, the juvenile court, and ran into a judge who was a veteran of Iwo Jima. He suggested I go in the Marine Corps and help my mother out. Okay. Now, you got to imagine, I was running wild, no discipline all these years. Now I'm in the Marine Corps, and with those drill instructors, I hated it. I really hated it. I said, I'm not used to being disciplined. But then, as normal, I liked it.
Buzz, now are you the oldest one in the family?
Yes.
Okay, so you were the first one to go into service?
Yes.
And your first tour, was it 2 years or 4 years?
4.
4 years. So you wanted boot camp. Let's go to boot camp.
Yeah.
You said you hated drill instructors. Back then, I can imagine, were they hands-on, like, motherfucker, get in step, get in line, do your shit?
If I met my drill instructor nowadays, I would have to beat the hell out of him.
What, so they were hands-on?
Well, it was hands-on. They called me, from Chicago, I used to say, what you gonna do, cut me with your switchblade knife? They still thought Al Capone was running Chicago.
Right.
It's the truth.
Well, years later, I went in 85, and they were the same way, oh, you're from Chicago, you think you're tough. And I'm like, no, I never said that. I just joined the Marine Corps.
And then they also said one time, when you go to get your clothes, now remember, us drill instructors don't make that much money. We could use a couple extra pair of pants. I say, I ain't stealing nothing for you.
Buzz, so you're the first one to go in the Marine Corps. Now, how many of your brothers went in the service?
2.
2? Both Army?
Both in the Army.
Correct? Okay, so let's get past the 4 years, right? Then you get out and you come back in the Marine Corps.
Okay, no. So I got out in 1962, and I went to work for 4 years, and then both my brothers went to Vietnam. One with the 1st Cav, and the second with the 25th Infantry. Well, they both got wounded and sent home to Japan for rehab. So I said, that did it. I went and joined them. My mother got two Purple Heart letters. I went and re-enlisted in the Marine Corps.
Okay.
And that's how I wound up back in the Marine Corps. Because I thought in the first 4 years, we traveled all over the world and going through simulated battles, visiting different countries. I thought this is going to be a snap. We're just going to go up and get on a hill, and they're going to attack us, and then we're going to shoot them like they do in the movies.
I think I read in the book that you said something about you trained, or maybe I heard you say it before, you were doing training that was new to the Marine Corps. Is that true?
Oh, we were doing stuff like repelling from helicopters. We repelled helicopters with just a rope in your bare gloves. No equipment, wrap the rope around your leg and go down.
Or just zip down.
Go down. And then, of course, we still had the older M1s when I was in.
Okay.
And then when I joined the Marine Corps, now you got to understand, they had all new weaponry. I went in, they gave me a bag of explosive. I said, what's that for? C4. They said, that's your new part of your new MOS.
Now, did they train you on that?
No.
Really?
I didn't go no training to go to Vietnam. I re-enlisted. They sent me to reserve outfit, then they sent me to Vietnam. I joined the line outfit.
What year is it that you go into Vietnam the second time? Like
66.
66. And then when, let's get to that day, unless you got something else you want to put in before that. But February 5th, 1968, you're on Khe Sanh. How long are you there at this point?
Well, when I first arrived in Vietnam, the company was out on the field, the whole battalion. So I was in the rear for about 3 weeks. When they got back, we started going from hill, just city to city operation. And then the hill fights occurred. The Marines went up north and engaged the North Vietnamese fighting for all the hills they had occupied. So after they won the hills, they sent us up there in 68 to occupy them and defend them. Some of the Marines from different outfits won the hills, and we were there to defend them.
And what's your MOS at this point?
0351.
What is that?
That's rockets and weapons platoon.
Okay. I understand that, right? And you think about the infantry goes in, clears the hill, and then you guys come in and secure it. Just, are you supporting them at this time?
No.
Hill to hill?
No, we were just not allowed to go out, leave the hills.
Okay.
We just figured they shouldn't let us bomb us for 21 days. See, my concept of the Marine Corps was we get on a hill, they attack us and shoot them. Nobody told me they were going to shoot a 100-pound rocket from 22 miles away, and our rifles don't go that far. So we were just sitting ducks in a hole.
Yeah.
And I wanted to go quit. I said, I'm done. I want to go back home. This is not my kind of Marine Corps. Let them come up and rush us.
Yeah.
Or fight us like they do in the movies. See, everything I did was from the movies.
Like charge the hill and put a hand-to-hand combat.
They gave me that new MOS with the C4. Well, I watched enough under UDT movies with John Wayne and all them people. I said, I know how to use that C4. But I had my own method of doing it. and everybody kind of picked it up, but it was kind of scary. Just for instance, I don't know to get into it, but what you carry there for, if you're on a patrol and you find so many expended rounds that didn't go off from the artillery. So you have to set a charge and destroy them, because what they do is set them up as booby traps.
Gotcha.
And those are 250-pound bombs. And when they set those up and you trip them, there is absolutely nothing left of you except vapor. So that story, the first one, some lieutenant called me over by the river, and he said, what do you need? He said, I looked down, there was a raft with a big weight on it. He said, I want them blown up. I said, I'll take care of that. I'll do that. So I took a little quarter-pound of C4, and I stuck it in the head and put a fuse in there. And he said, how long of a fuse are you going to use? I said, about a couple of minutes. He said, you know what the fuck you're doing? You know what you're doing?
You could swear it's
I
okay.
said, what are you talking about? You want that destroyed, don't you? He said, yeah. Do you know what you're doing? And as I stood back, I said, oh my God. You know what that was on that raft? It was a 250-pound bomb with the fins taken off.
Oh.
I ran about a 2.5-mile fuse, and when I blew that up, it left a crater. It could have put the Empire Building in.
No kidding.
You know, he's probably telling that same story right now to a group of his friends.
Yeah.
You think you got one? Let me tell you about this imbecile Marine. But that's a true story. Because I didn't want to admit that being an old salt.
Yeah.
You know what? You ever realize those kids were 18 years old. When I re-enlisted, I was 26. They used to call me Pappy at 26.
Oh.
Pappy.
Yeah.
And I remember one quick thing. Kid was walking by and I was digging a hole and my serial number was on my back. And all I heard the comment was, holy fuck. How the fuck old is he? And the thing is, when I was in the first time, our NCOs were probably that same age, but when we looked at them, they looked like old 40, 50 years old from World War II. But now I was them. I was the old salt now. So now you could kind of understand where they stood, because now I'm moving from supervisory into a thing.
Yeah.
So they looked up to you, the younger Marines, or you?
Oh, they did, and I didn't realize, they were all 18 years old.
Babies.
Babies.
Babies going to war.
I didn't really realize, I'll tell you the truth, not to get off the subject, but not too long ago, I was sitting in a restaurant, a group of high school kids came in and sat, we eating lunch. It's the first time in all them years I looked at them and said, oh my God, my whole platoon was the same age there, and to me, they were Marines.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I never said, like Billy would say, I was 18 years old.
Now, 1 second, and we'll go back to Vietnam. Pete was in the Army, correct? What years did you do the Army?
89 to 93.
And what was that boot camp like? Was
It wasn't. They weren't too hands-on at that time. They were kind of getting away from that. You know, we weren't doing any timeouts or anything like that. But they weren't hitting you as much as previous, basic.
And you
training.
always hear stories about, the Marine Corps boot camp's the hardest one to go through, but I don't know if that's actually true or not.
You know, it doesn't have to be physical. I thought them dumb suckers were funny. The things they thought up. If you messed up, they'd put you on top of the Quonset hut, and you had to go, book, book, I'm a shitbird, book, book. Or like I was snapping in on a rifle, and they heard me bitching.
Yeah.
So it's about a 10-mile walk from there back to the barracks. They made me walk behind the platoon and bitch the whole way without stopping.
No kidding.
About anything. It's fucking Marine
No,
Corps.
I got caught doing something. We had to clean the bathroom floors with our toothbrush. Sit there, every little square we had to scrub it.
But I thought they were funny. I said, how do they come up with this stuff? You know, I said, in the way they talk, they say, like most of ours were from San Diego, because I was in San Diego. So they would say, you shit, they like the Spanish people from LA, because all of them those I think were gangbangers at one time or another. But that's the only, it wasn't all physical. And just like, I'll tell you real quick, one time, one of the men actually in rank said, "Sir, the private does not like the language the drill instructor is using."
Back then?
Back then.
Wow.
Now you'd think right away, they're going to beat this poor guy till he thinks, nope. You know what they said for the next week? Everything he said was, son of a bitch nut come, son of a gun, oh God darn it. He embarrassed them so bad. Just doing that.
Yeah.
You expect he's going to come over, this poor guy's going to get it now.
A little reverse psychology on them.
They use on your mind. It's not all physical. They don't go around beating you.
No, it's got to be a big mental game.
But
They got to prepare people mentally and
it's mental.
the toughness.
It
that goes
is.
through.
It is. You know, when I was only a corporal there when I re-enlisted, there wasn't a thing I could say that they wouldn't do. And not too long ago, I was a guest speaker at a reserve outfit in Arizona. There was 700 Marines there, combination of all the reserve units in the area. And they wanted me to spit a 15-minute speech. I said, what I was going to say, besides I was embarrassed that big fat dress blues I was wearing, but I figured I'd say something.
Right.
So I got up there and I said, I'm looking out there and all I see here is you're better looking, better dressed, and better trained. I don't know what you're going to ask me.
Right.
As you're going to ask me about combat, no, you're going to find out pretty soon. No, there's nothing you can learn. But one thing you will learn is you're going to remember what those NCOs taught you. And I said, because I'm going to tell you, I've been given a lot of accolades in life. I don't remember one of them. But I'll tell you what you will remember, the mistakes you made.
Yeah.
I said, like that stuff you just read from my citation, he just read, I'll tell you the real story. I said, there was mistakes made there. Men died.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I
You made a
said,
mistake.
men died. I made a mistake. And I made a mistake in my life. You know how they died, the mistake I made? Because I got to know those kids. Now I became in charge of them. So I said, I want all these machine guns moved tonight. I had a feeling. But right away, AI, give us a break. Come on, we just dug that goddamn hole. It was a friendship now instead of the NCO Marine. Well, that was the night they got overran. Because they had marked all their positions.
Yeah.
So whose mistake was that? Not theirs,
Right.
mine.
Right.
So
And then that's the day.
That's the day we got overrun too.
Okay, let's talk about that. So you're on the hill for how long now? What's the hill number?
861A.
861?
Now, A means approach. So people always ask, what those numbers? 861 is the altitude of 861. 861A is the approach. So 861A would be here, and we would be down here where the approach leading up to 861.
Okay.
So it's not us they want, it's 861 they want.
Gotcha.
That's where the big guns were. So they got to come through us to get to them. So it's actually, the difference between the hills is just a gully. And then once you pass 861, you can get to the rear of 881. So that's why they attacked the
Yeah.
little hill first.
So how long are you on the hill before February 5th?
Oh, quite a while.
Months?
Yeah, a couple of months.
Couple months? Now, are they bombing the hill constantly?
Every day.
Every day?
Every day.
Now,
24/7.
Yep.
Every day. Oh.
Every day.
no kidding.
Not so much at night.
I can see where you're getting, your mind's going crazy.
Oh,
you're getting bombed every day.
can't-
You want to get out of there.
But
It's got to be stressful.
you see, and you got to understand, they're living through B-52 raids. What they do is, they don't do like you see in the movies. They don't stand there with a thing, and they're not that crazy. So they just bury the thing in the ground, and every 15 minutes after they have a cigarette, they run out, throw 3 rounds in there, and they go back in the hole.
Really?
So all them raids aren't even bothered.
Affecting them,
But
yeah.
after a while, it saved their lives.
Yeah.
But the life on the hill it's not, you want combat. They beg for combat. And then the problem was all my friends, they sent out, I volunteered to go with them, but they didn't want us to leave. Bravo Company went out there and they got almost wiped out.
Wow. Whole
Yeah,
platoon?
The whole platoon. And because they weren't, the first time they allowed them to leave the hills. Now, these are all mistakes by the bigger brass, not like us too. They make mistakes.
Sure.
Because we should have been out there, and as a former Marine, you know, we should have been out there with listening posts. We should have ran patrols every night. We should have set up ambushes every night. After we got overrun, I went out and checked the bodies. Well, you could see that they had what they had done. They had dug little holes for all their motors all night. Because we had them come up with one day, people with, what do you call them, stethoscopes? There's a picture of it in some big magazine. They're listening on the ground because somebody said they're digging. They weren't digging under us. They were digging their positions outside.
Right. And like you said, with those patrols going out, those ambushes, they would have prevented a
They
lot of
couldn't.
that.
There were no one
enough
listening post, one LP out there. You know,
Yeah.
listening post. One guy out there in a little hole, past the wire, would have warned us.
Right.
But when we went out there, it was amazing to see what they had done. In Vietnam, they have what they call elephant grass. It grows about this big. What they had done at pitch night, there's no lights out there. The path they had taken up to attack the hill, they had taken the grass, went up the top and tied it.
So, it was like a
So
little tunnel.
now, like a little tunnel, all they got to do is feel. And they didn't use a base plate for their motors. They just had a piece of tin. And the first round made an indentation so they could maneuver the motors. Ingenious, though, guys. Yeah.
So let's go to February 5th. That morning, what was the usual? Did you wake up at a certain time? Or was it at night they started?
No, it was at night, middle of the night, and middle of the morning, when it was still dark, pitch dark. So that's how come I was the only one out there besides the 1st platoon. Because my motorman, I'm sorry. So all I heard was machine gun fire and rockets. I said, what the hell's going on? Something happened to my machine guns. So I went out there and I saw they were all wounded. I said, oh my God, I didn't know they were attacking. They were already past the. So I picked one of them up and started carrying them back to the corpsman in the trench line, and they were in the trench line in front of me. At night, you can't tell if it's a Marine or NVA because they're fully uniformed. So I started running with the Marine, and they shot.
Hands over your shoulders?
And they shot at me, but they hit the Marine. I could feel the rounds going in him, but not going in me.
Wow.
So, and then I was blocked by another guy with a rocket, but I killed him. So
don't try not to skip too much. I want to hear it. So you're carrying the Marine. He gets shot. Does he die?
you know, I don't know if he ever made it.
Okay.
To this day.
Okay.
I brought him back to first aid.
Okay. And then you go back.
I went back and got the rest of them, but one of them was dead. Still,
And then
we got him later.
you come across this guy shooting a rocket.
Yeah,
And what happens?
I killed him.
I mean, give us, if you don't mind, how did you kill him? Did you shoot him?
Oh, no,
Did you beat him?
he was busy, and I just pulled, he had his pack on his back. Nice one, too, for a rocket.
RPG.
Yo, nice set. But I grabbed the straps and pulled them backwards. I didn't have no weapon. I left it behind.
Yeah.
I didn't have no gun.
No kidding.
I didn't have no weapon. I didn't have nothing. A knife, pair of knuckles, rock. I would have taken anything, a rock. So then I made it back to the command post.
Right.
And I told them what was happening, because I told the captain what was happening, and they started trying to get stuff together. And then my motor man came up. That's the guy who lost his legs. So we start firing. First of all, he told me to get out because I was in a panic. I was just throwing the rockets down there. Well, they have little increments on them. They give them their distance, little powder pack. I was just throwing them in there as fast as I could. It wasn't going anywhere, but about 20 yards past the bad guy. So he started firing it off the plate against the wall, throwing them just like a handheld. And then I left Billy and I went and had to go get another machine gun and some more ammo. And then I was bringing it up to the people supporting it. And then I got a couple of boxes of grenades. Here comes the story. I don't know, it's in any book. I don't think anybody ever know. So I brought a case of grenades, a couple of machine gun, and I forgot. So now we're in the trench line. I've gotten the trench line because we had pulled the Marines back to a defense, another perimeter. So I started throwing grenade after grenade, just lobbing them out of the hole because they were all over the place. But then I said, this is taking too long. Now the guys that were in the trench line with me, they don't know this to this day. I said, it's taking too long because when they're encased, they're in a box. So I said, I'll just take them out, pull the pins and save them here. I actually got two down before I said, to this day, one of them guys think I saved their lives in that hole. Because I barely got them both above the trench line when I realized, and they went off and shattered all kinds of dirt and stuff down. I said, I didn't want to tell them. They thought I was going to almost dive on their grenade.
That's crazy. So you're just launching grenades then?
Just kept throwing as many as you could.
And this is helping keep the enemy back. It's like,
You know, I do
keep them
that.
from moving
I
forward.
still do that today I found out, I was talking. I got a habit, and I think that's what it's from. When we were in the ghetto driving down the street, 16th, and I see the big bunch of bad guys, you know what I do? I go like this. I swear to God.
just like an imaginary
Like
grenade.
I said, throw them grenades, because I got used to it, one after another.
Yeah, that'll disperse them, right?
And then and then we just organized, pulled back, and then we attacked them.
So you're throwing grenades. How many Marines did you pull out of the trenches?
No, my three
3?
machine gunners, that they were the first one they destroyed. First round fired by the NVA took out the machine gun, which I told them should have moved them, because they saw them there every night. If they would have moved, they would have been fooled.
Yeah.
They would have known how to get through the wire. So actually, that's one of the mistakes I was telling you about. Mistakes do occur.
No, absolutely. And they're deadly ones.
That deadly
deadly
one.
ones.
Somebody's going to. There's a movie where somebody says, movie of a Marine says, "Son, we make mistakes." Oh, that's and people die.
Yeah.
Well, that's what it
And it
does
happens
happen.
anywhere. I mean, it could
It
happen on
does
the street
happen
today.
It does happen though.
Right. Now, were you wounded at all during
Yeah.
this whole time?
Yeah, but I didn't know it. I still got the shrapnel here.
So you're a Purple Heart recipient?
Yeah, twice. No, I got wounded in '67.
Now, I know they tried to put you in for the Medal of Honor.
Yeah.
And when Obama gave you the Silver Star, was there a reason why they didn't, with all that stuff that you just told us?
There was nobody there left on the hill to
Oh.
write you up.
Oh,
So what happened was all those people never forgot, and they got together, not me. They got together one year, I forgot, and they decided to do it
yeah.
because they felt, well, there were because you have to have people, witnesses, and all this stuff.
Right.
Well, they were all wounded in that hill fight, and when they questioned the commanders why they didn't, that's what they said.
Yeah.
First place, we don't have place to do it up here. We don't have an office clerk. In the second place, there was nobody to interview. They were all gone, wounded.
Well, Buzz, I'll tell you what, I've read a lot of Medal of Honor recipients, and you definitely deserve one. You do. I don't know if there's anything we can ever do about it, but all the
that's
stuff
what it is.
in the books that I read about you and stuff like that, you definitely deserve one.
Well, that's because the men that worked with me, the Marines that worked with me, that was all they're doing.
Yeah.
The respect for it. Just like I tell you, respect. I had set out a minefield. Now, after 5 or 6 mines, those are all these called deadly mines. We were ordered to take them out. And I only had 2 weeks left to do in Vietnam. And I put them in, I'm the one who knew where they were. My whole platoon volunteered to go out and get them.
Really? So 2 weeks left before your tour is over, you're going back, you're out of the Marine Corps?
I went back to the rear and then flew back, and then they sent me to Camp Lejeune
Okay.
to be discharged. But here, now I was we'll get into the police part, that's where that started.
Yeah, that's what I want to talk about. So you're in Camp Lejeune, and they're recruiting, the Chicago Police Department's recruiting?
Yes, they are, yeah. But I never planned on being a policeman either. But they were going to send me to Cuba. I said, I've been to Cuba. I'm not going to Cuba to walk no trench line.
Yeah.
And then I found out they had the police recruiting. So I flew, been to Chicago one weekend, went and saw the police department. All I did was get a letter saying they're recruiting from somebody here, took it back and showed the sergeant major. And by that time, I didn't have enough time to go to Cuba. So I used it to stop them going to Cuba. Now I get back home, I'm finally discharged completely. And I didn't think about the police department. One day they come to the house, I guess they went to my family, and it was kind of iffy because of my juvenile record. You know, I grew up on the
Even
other
back then?
Yep, I grew up on the other side of the fence, you know. So anyway, I become a policeman. That's how I become a policeman. I never planned on it.
Now, you're applying for the police department. Your brothers, are they still in active
No,
military?
no.
They're out.
They were both wounded now too.
They
got
both
discharged.
became police officers as
Yes,
well,
they
right?
did, yep.
Was that before you or after you?
After me.
After you.
Denny, my brother Denny from the 12th Infantry. Now, he almost didn't make police department because back then, he was machine gunned across the chest.
Oh, wow.
So he had, back then they gave you your own chest x-ray, and you had to take it over someplace on Michigan to get a chest x-ray. So when they gave him his chest x-ray, he just took it home and forgot about it. Because he thought they were going to find out he was all shot up.
Yeah.
So one day somebody asked me, how come Denny isn't called? You know? So I went and asked the people down in personnel, and they said he never turned in his chest x-ray. So I went and told them, I said, well, you asked, so why didn't you turn in? They didn't know I'd been shot. They don't care if you've been shot or not. They want to know if you got TB.
Oh. Now, did he have a flak jacket on when he got shot?
No, he got shot right. I don't know. He got shot through and through.
Really?
Yeah, his lungs collapsed. Well, actually, but the wound that he suffered the worst with, he was laying there wounded, and his men were calling, "Where are you, then?" And he stuck up his arm to show them, and they shot him through the arm.
No kidding. Isn't it funny, but back then, leading up to, not so much these days, but a lot of the families, they all went in. They all went in. My mom's got like 7 brothers. All of them served in the military.
And my other brother was a chief, became a chief in the Navy.
Yeah, now you might get 1 and 2 in the same family if you're lucky. The rest of you, no, I'm not going. There's always one that might go, though.
No, but I'll tell you, Denny, in fact, Denny, when he's still in Japan. And I am just getting ready to leave to go to the Marines. And his medals, all his medals came in a box in the mail. And I said, who in the hell would send somebody's medal?
In the mail.
Because they can't find you when they send you, you're wounded here, they send you there, and then they transfer you here. So I put all the medals in a box, and I wrote the commanding general of Fort Leonard. And I said, you know what? These medals were earned in a fashion, they should be presented in a fashion.
Yeah.
So when he got out, he was just getting ready to go out. He went to Fort Leonard. They had the whole division fall out
good.
to give him up. And I signed a letter, Corporal, United States, I retired. So I said, Marines could get anything. I said,
So you got it in 68. you're going into the police department,
Yep.
and all Chicago's fucking breaking loose.
All anti-war.
How long was your academy back then?
Mine, about 2 weeks.
2 weeks academy?
Yeah, you see, only reason I came, it was the last time you were going to do the 9 months. They were all the way through theirs because it cost too much money. So being a Marine, they slipped me in.
Okay.
Like when I took my physical, they read the chart for me. They helped me with the bolt and pushed me up. You know, because they said it's fine to get somebody that's going to be decent here. But it was fun. But during the Democrat, all the military things like 1990, oh, that was my war. I prayed, this is the truth. All I wanted to do was ever to get promoted was someday nobody's ever going to burn a flag in front of me.
Right.
Or I got to sit there and watch them Ho Chi Minh in my face. I said, just hope. And then I was happy when 1990 came. When Iraq, I said, oh boy, we got us protesters back here.
Yeah.
And I had my tag team. They found out we were working on our time off. They didn't know we were assigned to all them demonstrations.
Oh.
That was on our own time. We just decided to go down there. And we had Lieutenant Sadler, was a great boss. He said nobody felt the same way, the same ideals that we had. And I remember one time, though, we had all the demonstrators. And one time the group, we had about 10,000 of them. I was just telling them a story. So we're walking along, and one of them ladies, these are all decent people too, but protesting the war. And she said, oh, Sergeant, brought my granddaughter down here to show her what I was like when I was down here in 1990. I said, you'll get your fat ass back in line. You're going to find out what it was like in 1990. And they used to ask me questions like, isn't it hard to be neutral and watch all this? I said, neutral? I hate all you motherfuckers. What are you talking about? I hate you all.
Yeah.
You all no good to me. And I remember one time they put me they said, we're going to switch. We're going to take the Eisenhower Expressway. They were just supposed to go down Michigan. I said, no. And the words came back to me of the stories that tell in Korea about a hill that got overran like ours. They never heard from. I said, they're not coming down. That was about that time. I said, get my tech team and 2 other officers. I don't know where they came from. There was a deputy chief there in charge. I said, boss, they ain't taking this fucking street. Not while we're here. He said, even my guy said, sorry, many of them, I said, here we stand. I used the same words that they did. I used that same thing. Isn't this funny how your mind, when we were being overrun, and they asked me how it was going out there, in my mind, it clicked to me a story they used to tell about the 7th Marines, and when they asked them what was happening, that's the last word they heard from everybody. This is somebody's 3-7, here we stand. Well, that's what I told them. We're standing there in Eisenhower. I said, they ain't coming down Eisenhower, here we stand, buddy. And I told that chief, you get your deputy. I said, you get the hell out of here. And he did till he left.
No kidding. So I'm gonna go back a little bit, Buzz.
Okay.
You get on the police department, the riots. You're a rookie.
Yep.
Are you down there for the riots or?
Every one of them.
No kidding.
That's what I couldn't stand. It bothered me all the years. That's it. And luckily I had a tax sergeant down there who was just the same ideals and everything, right wing, and he hated it too. But he kind of violated it a couple of times. I didn't know I was a rookie.
Yeah.
Because it bothered the hell out of me to go home and let them burn flags.
Right. Especially after you do what you've been through.
But I always said, boy, if I ever get the chance. Well, the story is I never got to be that high and promoted, but fortunately I got a lieutenant who did and let me do what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you one thing, all them demonstrations, not one person ever burnt the flag. I don't care how many bosses were down there.
Right. What was like Rick Monday when he
Did I tell
the
you?
Cubs game?
Did I tell you
went
when?
through there.
Oh yeah, they're good. These policemen there, but they were like one time. Somebody told them that we were working on our own time for the riot. And the sissy bosses said, "Get them out of there."
Yeah.
So we were beating them up. I said, with the Sadlers, nobody ever did anything in front of us. Them other groups were letting them do anything they wanted. So finally, We look out, they hit us way up in the federal building on, I don't know what floor. They said, you stay up here in reserve. And so I looked out the window, and there's a guy standing in the middle, about 1,000 protesters. They got the whole thing. He's wearing a Marine coat, corporal jacket. He's got a police sergeant's hat on, and he's got a can of lighter fluid. He's about to burn the flag in the middle of it. I said, there ain't no fucking way.
Yeah.
So I don't know, I ran down the fucking steps. I run up to Sadler, the lieutenant. I didn't say a word to him. He knew. He just said, go ahead. Because he had a set of Italian, like the cicciones or whatever. He had the big brass cicciones. So I said, I walked through that crowd, and they actually spread just like the Red Sea. And I walked up to him, I said, take that. So I took the shirt off, took the hat, took the flag, and I started walking back towards our lines. And I looked around, and everybody there, thousands of people were doing this.
Good.
And you know why? They had been like me, watching this, ordered not to do anything about it. And it was just spoiling them. So finally somebody did something. And I didn't do it to be no fucking hero. I did it because it bothered me so bad. I wanted to beat him, but I could have been in
A
jail.
lot of respect there, though. You know, nobody wants to see that. Not, well, I should say nowadays, but.
But here's the story to this. There's a guy named Cicero. He led every Vietnam protest across the country. He was there. So when he saw me doing it on the way back, he got into a conversation with me, which I shouldn't told, never did. You're never supposed to. So he sets up to me, attack me. So they pushed me and I fell down. I had these rubber boots on over your shoes, and they turned when I was wrestling with them. And it looked like I
broke your foot.
Broke my foot. So the marshals came and arrested him, took him up to the building, and they brought a federal magistrate in, and he thought he was going to be charged with disorderly conduct. So he had him and his partner were both dressed with field jacket, pads all over them. They looked for that demonstration back. And I guess he was well known. He was a hero to the anti-Vietnam people. Yeah. And he was always charged with disorderly. Well, they charged him with aggravated battery on a federal reservation.
Oh, nice.
His knees buckled when they told him. They said, you could be sentenced to 10 years in the penitentiary. Because they thought when I came limping in, I couldn't get that goddamn boot down.
What a lot of people don't understand is the police they're not waking up every day and saying, I'm going to go beat anybody.
Never.
Never, right? I've never, my 22 years on the job, never woke up and said, who am I going to arrest or beat today?
Nobody ever did that.
They confront you and you have to do what you have to do.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's right.
you have to go home to your family, your friends, so things like that. So you're now past, we talked about 68, and you were talking about 90 during the Iraq War. What year did you become sergeant?
1977.
Okay. Oh, so that was a while ago you became sergeant. Yeah. When'd you come to 10? When'd you work with us on 10 at Midnights? Remember what year? It was like 2000, wasn't it?
Another reason I said to 10, I went to the FBI Academy. And when I came back, I didn't have a home. So Hughes was in 10, and he said, why don't you come over here? Again, I wasn't where I wanted to go, but circumstances, I didn't have a home. They had me gone with the FBI Academy when I came back. My position wasn't there anymore. So
gotcha.
They sent me to 10.
So in so many words, can you give some of your highlights of Chicago Police Department? Some things you will always remember, you always want to take with you?
Yeah, it's the way they promote people. See, it's not like the military I'm used to. In the military, you earn your promotions and stuff. You promote the right people, you got the right thing. People think, like, you can always promote your friends. I bother with this, what do they call it?
Meritorious.
Meritorious promotions. Now, just to show you, and I was never bitter about it, but when I first became a police department, I took the sergeant's exam. I finished, I should have been promoted, but that federal law came down from Judge Marshall, and I was held back for 11 years. So technically, my career was destroyed right then by that order.
Yeah.
But it didn't make me bitter, but it bothered me because not from the person that was promoted, because down the line somewhere they're going to have to depend on those people, and I really think that that's what happened to them now. The supervisors and bosses they promoted in command should never had them jobs in the first place, and so if they're the ones that's passing down these orders, and some of them are ludicrous. The stuff that goes on now with the police department, well, it never happened then. I'm not talking about, we didn't go around beating people and screaming at people. We knew what we were doing. And we promoted qualified people.
Right, you did the right job. You did the job when it had to be done.
You had to do.
Yeah.
But when they start nowadays, they're violating every law that was ever made, and then you can't enforce it. What do you think?
Right.
It would be hard for me to stand there and let somebody come up and spit in my face.
Right. It's hard to watch.
Call me means. It'd be hard to watch, let alone what it'd be hard for me.
Right.
Because now, when I sit at home, my wife says, "You crazy son of a bitch, turn that fucking TV off." Because I'm screaming at them.
Yeah.
Get away from me, you son of a bitch. Don't hit him, do something.
Right.
Arrest them.
Yeah.
Chase them. Gas them.
Right.
She says, "You're not on the job anymore. Shut the TV off."
She wish they would react in a different way.
But it bothers me. But everybody thinks that when we say we ran around beating people and people hate the police, that all's bullshit.
Yeah. You know, it's like when I retired, everyone's like, "Oh, you ain't gonna retire. You'll never do it." I go, "Listen, there's no saying. You probably know it. Is I don't miss the circus. I miss the clowns."
Yes.
You know, and you do. You don't miss the department and their
not the rules.
antics. You just miss the guys you that bond with.
But I think that my career was different than the majority of the Chicago Police Department. Luckily for me, because I became a sergeant quickly, not meritoriously by my cutting score. I became a TAC officer quick. I didn't have to go around getting in and out of squad car, writing tickets. I never wrote a traffic ticket.
Yeah.
So, and I got to meet great people. We got to do, most people let us do what we were doing because we were doing the right thing. In fact, one day we had a huge arrest going on somewhere at the station, which involved different commanders. And one commander said, "Oh, how in the hell? Don't ask him. Take the accolades, but don't ask him how he did it." Yeah. That you don't want to know. Not that it was criminal or anything.
Right.
But you kind of go around the rules. I mean, a little bit.
Bad guys don't play by the
Like,
rules. So
I even challenge the rules.
Yeah.
Like there's a rule that people know when you get a search warrant, you have to get a state's attorney to approve it. You have to get it signed. You got it. I say, you read the rules of Chapter 38. All it says is I got to get a search warrant, get it signed by a judge. I did it one time. So we went to court the next day, and the state's attorney told the judge, this wasn't approved by the state's attorney. He said, "Is that the officer?" "Yeah." "Is that the complainant?" "Yeah." He said, "Let's go to trial. That's all we need.
Yeah.
We don't need you."
It's true, because that deterred me from writing search warrants. I got to get it approved by the watch commander, then the state's attorney, then they want to change everything, and I was like, fuck it.
Yeah. I see, but I feel like you're a funny one. We made a big diamond arrest. You know what? There's a movie, I forgot the name. A California policeman that started writing letters about himself. I mean, he was a hell of a cop. And they found that it was him writing the letters about himself to the public. And you know what it was? And I thought that might have happened to me, but really. Early in my career, I probably made what they call a big arrest in every category of the police department. Robbery, murder, narcotics. And that, you'd think that the little one just still I didn't like. Yeah. But I like the little ones, 10 bags of heroin, 9 bags of heroin, and I get 20 kilos of cocaine.
Right.
To me, they're both the same.
Right, I got you.
I said, so there was a chance, though, that when you do all that early, nothing else matters. You're always trying to reach that's what happened to him. you're going to get a big arrest, Never bothered me. Dime bag, 2 bags is a violation of the law, same as 2 kilos.
Well, there were guys that would, I'm not going to say they were headhunting you in a sense, I don't know how else to say it. I was in St. Jude one time and there was a big boss nearby and he goes, Buzzy Eichler, that guy's got 18 or 20 department accommodations. And back then they were hard to get. It wasn't something you just wrote up for somebody. It had to be a great arrest that you did to get those. He goes, there's nobody in the city has got them like Buzzy. So I remember guys when they're getting a little closer, they're like, oh, I'm going to catch Buzzy, I'm going to catch Buzzy. I'm like, you're not catching Buzzy.
None of them ever did.
Not like these days, yeah.
But that was another thing. I made sure my police officers will recognize. Back then, some young policemen would say, oh, no, I don't care. But my sergeant's box would be filled with the case reports looking for a little write-up, which I took care of.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, rightfully so, if they deserve it. But there were ones doing them and then...
No, that's what I said. Like when I went on, I got tired of being a sergeant for 30 years and I went, before I retired, I went back in uniform to work midnights with the young police officers. And I was surprised to find out nobody cared about them, but whatever. Nobody showed them how to make an arrest report. Nobody showed them how to do the right thing. Nobody showed them how to write it. Like I taught them how to write case reports, what they did, but the nice way where they get recognition for it. And I found out, I used to get fights with detectives all the time and stuff. When they'd come and try to blow them off the job, I'd say, look, your job is to help these officers. You understand that? You're too fucking lazy. Go back and tell your boss I said, send to somebody else.
Right.
You know.
No, absolutely.
Do you think, like you came on, there was a lot of Vietnam vets in your class and when you came on the department, right?
Yes.
So do you think you had like an advantage or because you had the military experience being a veteran and working the streets at that time?
Joe? When I old time through the academy with all those people, I never heard one talk about Vietnam.
Really?
Even amongst themselves. My partner's brother was killed in Vietnam for 5 years. But my partner was killed in Vietnam. Never knew it. Now, that South wasn't like it was now.
Yeah.
They just act like there never was. But there was no advantage.
I'll tell you what, I was on midnights, and of course, every officer gets a lot of foot chases and stuff like that. And there was a time there were 12 Marines on midnights with me. 12, all on the same watch. And I said, man, if I get a foot chase and I call for help, I know they're coming. So you just said that you knew it. If they were military, they were coming. They were going to, whether it be Marines or not, but it was nice knowing that, I was in the Marine Corps, they were in the Marine Corps, and if you were calling for help or chasing somebody, you had help coming.
I was telling them when you guys came in the district, you and Daryl, great 2 young Marines coming in. It was like a godsend. But they thought, Rick, they did their own thing.
Oh, sure.
I swear to God, I can say right now, I had very little to do with, they did him his own.
No.
And, but I even formed my little tag team with the uniform guys on midnight.
Yeah.
We helped Rick out. On our car, there was 4 of us. There was 2 Marines and 2 Army guys.
Yeah,
Me
we worked together.
and Jerry helped out Rick and.
We were
Great coppers. I was fortunate to work with a lot of great police officers.
It works the way, like I'd make them take, say there was a murder and a uniformed officer happened to be a part of it. I'd tell the detectives, if they're looking for another offender or doing this, take him with you.
Yeah.
To finish the case. Let him finish this. He makes an arrest, call the detectives that he's done. No, you keep him until you take him in the station, write him up, let him do his job.
Yeah.
Of course, then I decorated them all up. They all look like French generals.
Oh.
Got to know how to write the awards. I use all mine from the Marine Corps. I write mine the same way. I did my case reports the same way.
So, Buzz, we have a little sponsor, Supreme Whiskey Stones. His name is Hector Gonzalez. He runs a company. He makes glasses, and he's got you a couple. I know you don't drink, not too often anyway.
No,
I remember back then you used to drink Malibu Coke, right?
Yeah.
So here's a glass, and it's got your name on it, and he wants to put a Blue Line flag, but he didn't know if you wanted it. If you want it, then he can get it done, but it takes longer to dry. It's got a little bullet that they heat into the glass. So he give you a set of these. It's got your name on it, like I said.
Oh, that's great.
And, on the bottom, look at the bottom.
Oh, there it is.
It's got the Eagle Golden Acre.
I use these too. I use these.
Do you?
glasses. Yeah.
Awesome then. Yeah, he's got your little set of them.
You know, I have my museum at home too.
Oh, I can imagine what you have at home. So how long have you been the president of the Khe Sanh?
Oh, I went through first I was on the board, then I was the sergeant,
Sergeant at Arms?
Sergeant at Arms, then I was the vice president, then I was the treasurer, then I was the vice president, then I was the president, and I've been the president ever since, I think.
Really?
I don't know,
Well, you
20
must
years.
be doing a good job.
20 years I do. Well, I have to give it up on my own because nobody wants to be president because I do everything.
Yeah.
I do the magazine. I'm not saying that thing,
Well-
but I do the magazine. I do the treasurer. I do the banking. I do
Yeah.
the treasury.
There's a story, it was a documentary I seen, some jeweler in New York. Did you see that one?
That's my motor man.
That's your motor man?
Barry
So
Fixler.
tell me about the time that they're walking through the jungle and someone pisses in your helmet?
That's what he said. You know what? Would you believe why? I think even though we're great friends, why he resigned me? He wrote a book. And he was afraid of me. You know, you got to understand something. I mean, not you probably understand. But I don't care if he's a millionaire or not. He's a multi-millionaire. I'll always be his sergeant.
Right.
Always. So I guess when he wrote that book and he wanted to put that part in there, he was afraid of me. He followed me through 2 reunions with his, what do you call it? That guy was with him, his publisher or something.
Yeah.
He wanted me to read the book before he put it out to make sure. And I wouldn't read the book. I said, Barry, I don't care what you write. I really don't. You could write that you saved the freaking hill or you did this. I really don't care.
Yeah.
But I think he really wanted to get that approved. And I think that's why today he said, but he's, you know how now? He's, he never fired a shot when we were in Vietnam. And one day, he owns a jewelry store in New York. 2 bad guys
Right.
walked in to stick him up.
That was in the
And he
documentary.
shot both of them.
Yeah, that was
Killed
awesome.
one. He said,
See, that's what's nice about you, Buzz. I can honestly say, since I've known you, that you're not looking for that pat on the back, that award. You're doing it for the right reasons, and you're a good person, honestly.
yeah, but I always said, see, sometimes I don't want to get into politics, but there's things where you know people who were real. They weren't just your thing.
Right.
Like, I'll just the only thing I'm going to say about politics, like Kerry. Kerry got his award, and I've never heard of it. I'm president. His whole entire boat crew went against him, trying to take it. Whereas, in my case, 30 or 40 people got together to try to get me a higher award.
Yeah.
I said, that's people that know you're a real friend,
Right.
that
And to care about you.
they care about you. And I said, I do the same care for them.
Yeah.
Okay, Buzzy, this is awesome. I mean, the story is incredible. What do you think, or what do you want for these veterans out here and the police officers to get from, or what helped you get through what you got through in your story?
Well, my problem is with the misunderstanding the public has brought about by the media, like Vietnam. At first, I felt the same way. I hated the people that thought about the war in Vietnam being wrong. Because my part of Vietnam, I went to Vietnam and spent 14 months in a hole up on a hill. I didn't see the stuff they talked about, the criminal stuff going on there, the wrong things. So I was adamant until I learned it did happen. I learned there is 2 sides of the story. And I thought I never would because I was so pro-war and pro-this. But there's...
And they took it out on everybody, not just, they didn't know who the criminals were.
Yeah,
They took it on everybody that went to Vietnam.
took it out on everybody.
Yeah.
And there was so much stuff I saw there, the babies we cared for, the villagers. Once in a while you'll see the press show a picture carrying a baby. You know, we did that the whole time we were there.
All the time.
We went to villages, we helped them. We weren't killers. We never attacked anybody. We were the attackees.
Yeah.
You know, but the people, and I think the majority of it is the press. The biggest thing about the stories. In fact, we had the Welcome Home Parade here in Chicago. I was walking through the lobby for the parade. The guy handed me a tape. A tape, he said, "Here, you'll enjoy this, Marine." I didn't play it for about 2 years. I still got it. I went home, put it in, you know what it is? I think it's Walter Cronkite in a split screen telling about Vietnam, the Tet Offensive. On this side, he's got screaming, "Oh, they're killing everybody in the compound in the embassy." And that was heard by Army guys. And then he had this and that. None of it ever happened.
Yeah.
2 people were killed. 2 people got past the gate at
The embassy?
the embassy. And us, we were kicking ass up north from the thing. And then everybody gets to believe this. They believe that you're killers, that you're mean. I mean, I'm one of the most compassionate people I think there is.
Yeah.
But they give me a job to do, you do the job.
Buzz, if there's somebody watching this podcast, whether it be a young kid or a guy just starting off in the military, what would be your message to them? Like,
I mentioned to be, do your thing. Don't be influenced by anybody. I mean, if you feel it's right to do it, do it. Too many times people have a little worship somebody or they do this. No, you do your own thing. Like when I told them I was giving a speech, they wanted to know about what's the combat like. I said, you find out. I mean, I can't tell you. I was scared.
Right.
Yeah, I was scared. I can tell you that much.
yeah.
But I'm not going to tell you every detail, this and that. You're going to, if you ever have to, God bless you if you don't have to do it. But if you do, follow your thing. And don't be influenced by these
Follow
other
your
people.
instinct, your gut
Even
feeling.
your own people, your own Marine, your own Army guy. Do your thing, what you feel is right, what you feel is right. And what? You're always going to be right. Treat everybody the same way you'd want to be treated.
Right.
You know, I mean, that's the public, even the bad guys.
Yeah.
I feel bad for the bad guys sometimes, believe it or not.
Oh, I've had that before. What are yours? Was as a sergeant.
That's a sergeant. That's when I first made sergeant. Look at those sideburns. But I'll tell you one thing. People talk about there's no more respect. That's not true. When I went to
It's getting away, I think, some point.
when I went to that Arizona party and as a guest speaker and had to talk to him, after the formal birthday party, I sat there at least an hour and a half at the table in a greeting line, shaking people, saying, you know what, I was probably sitting there like this, what the hell is going on here?
Yeah.
Because you're not used to it, but when you start believing again, believe what you see. Like, I'll switch from that real quick, my brother Denny, the one that went to 23, he went up there and he started listening to other policemen about the jag-off boss we got here. Emil Giese was the boss. I said, that's one of the, who in the hell are you? What did he do to you? That's my brother. What did he do to you that he's an asshole? Did he restrict you? Did he write sergeant number? Well, no, he's just an asshole. Well, tell me why. Not 2 weeks later, Esau put him on the TAC team.
Really?
And at that time, they had a rule you had to have 5 years on the TAC team or not.
Right.
Not because of me, because he was a worker.
Yeah.
I said, who's...
Workers should get
But
recognized.
I'm getting back to you. Do what you want to do and don't be listening to people.
Right.
Follow your own
Yeah.
Your own
Absolutely.
ideas, your own
Absolutely.
thing. When you get, if you feel it's wrong, don't do it. There's a lot of times I refuse to do stuff that I felt was wrong. I didn't care.
Yeah.
I wasn't taken
I've been
by the boss.
opinionated about stuff. Didn't get me nowhere. But
Even the smaller
trouble.
stuff, like I don't drink, I'll go in a bar and just being nice, not pester me for hours to have a drink. I said, oh, I don't want to.
Yeah.
Again, I'm following my own thing. I don't care how mad they think it's bad or not. So,
Absolutely.
but I don't understand.
Well, Buzz, it was an honor. I can really say that you came to our show and you got to
Thank
tell
you
your
for
story.
being here.
We appreciate all your service.
No,
Buzz.
I thank you guys.